Seniors, eat nuts, but never make these 6 mistakes. They can be fatal. Nuts are one of the healthiest foods on Earth, packed with protein, healthy fats, antioxidants, and minerals that protect your heart, sharpen your brain, and even help you live longer. But here's the shocking truth most seniors don't know. The very same nuts that can extend your life can also shorten it if you eat them the wrong way. In fact, research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition shows that certain nut habits can raise the risk of fatal heart events, choking incidents, and even dangerous gastrointestinal blockages, especially in people over 60. Imagine this. You snack on a handful of peanuts at night, thinking you're making a smart choice. But for some seniors, that simple habit can trigger an emergency room visit within hours. That's why today, we're going to expose the 6 deadly mistakes seniors often make with nuts, mistakes that quietly harm the heart, damage the gut, and in some cases, can be fatal. By the end of this video, you'll not only know what to avoid, but you'll also learn how to enjoy nuts safely so they can truly protect your health instead of threatening it. Mistake number 6, choosing roasted and salted, honey-glazed, or flavored nuts that are loaded with sodium, sugar, and oxidized oils. For many seniors, nuts go from heart protective to heart stressful the moment the ingredient list gets longer than one word. Oil roasted means the nuts were fried in added oils, often soybean, sunflower, or palm, at high heat. Dry roasted means no added oils, but can still be cooked at temperatures that darken and crisp the surface. Both often arrive with heavy salting and sweet coatings. Why does that matter after 60? First, sodium. A single ounce of roasted and salted nuts can carry 150–250 milligrams of sodium, and some party mixes push above 400 milligrams per ounce. That's a big deal when hypertension, heart failure, edema, and kidney strain are common in older adults. Extra sodium pulls water into the bloodstream, raises pressure, and makes the heart work harder. It also drives nocturia, waking up to urinate, which fragments sleep and raises fall risk on nighttime bathroom trips. Second, sugar. Honey-roasted or candied nuts frequently add 3 to 6 grams of sugar per ounce. That small glaze spikes calories, nudges blood glucose, and over time, raises triglycerides, especially risky if you're managing prediabetes, diabetes, fatty liver, or simply trying to control weight. Third, oxidized oils and heat byproducts. Industrial roasting, especially oil roasting, exposes delicate nut fats to high temperatures and oxygen. The result is lipid oxidation products and aldehydes that don't do your arteries any favors. Dark, over-roasted nuts can also accumulate more acrylamide, a heat-formed compound, compared with lighter roasts, particularly in almonds and peanuts. While the overall dietary risk depends on dose and frequency, it's reasonable for seniors to minimize unnecessary exposures when there's a simple alternative. Fourth, stealth calories and portion distortion. Flavored and party mixes are engineered to be hyper-palatable. That means your small handful quietly turns into 2 or 3 ounces, 340 to 500 calories before you notice. Do that a few evenings a week, and you can gain a pound a month, even though you're just snacking on nuts. Excess calories worsen insulin resistance, knee and hip stress, and reflux at night. Fifth, shelf life and rancidity. Added oils and sugary coatings often mask early rancid notes that would otherwise warn you off. Rancid nuts smell like paint or putty. They're a sign the healthy fats have degraded. Oxidized fats taste off for a reason. Your body recognizes the damage. Finally, labels lie by omission. Sea salt sounds gentle. Honey sounds wholesome. Natural flavor sounds innocent. But to your arteries and kidneys, sodium is sodium, sugar is sugar, and flavor is usually a blend that adds nothing your heart needs. None of this means you must only eat raw nuts forever. Moderately dry roasted, lightly colored, unsalted nuts can be perfectly fine. The real mistake is assuming all nuts are created equal once they're in a shiny bag. If you're over 60, managing blood pressure, on diuretics, taking heart medications, or watching blood sugars, the combination of extra sodium, sugar, and oxidized oils is exactly the trap that turns a heart-healthy snack into a silent risk. The fix is simple, practical, and powerful. Control the ingredients, control the dose, and control the storage. Better tip: buy plain nuts with an ingredient list that reads almonds or walnuts, nothing else. If you prefer roasted, choose dry roasted, unsalted, and aim for products that are light in color, not dark or brittle. Keep nuts in an airtight, opaque container in the fridge or freezer to slow rancidity, and always do the sniff test. If you smell paint or bitterness, toss them. Pre-portion 1 ounce, about 28-30 gris, 23 almonds, 14 walnut halves or 49 pistachios, into small bags to stop mindless overeating. If sodium is a concern, keep it under 50 mg per ounce. If glucose is a concern, keep added sugar at 0 g. Pair your portion with water or unsweetened tea instead of soda, and eat nuts earlier in the day rather than right before bed to reduce reflux and nighttime bathroom trips. Mistake number 5: eating nuts too quickly, in large handfuls, or without chewing them thoroughly. A mistake that can turn a heart-healthy snack into a choking hazard or digestive nightmare for seniors. Most people don't realize that nuts are one of the top culprits behind food-related choking incidents in adults over 65. The Heimlich Institute reports that choking is the 4th leading cause of unintentional injury death in older adults, and nuts, because of their dry texture and small size, are especially dangerous. Why? As we age, natural changes in saliva production, dental health, and swallowing reflexes make it harder to process dry, hard foods. If you wear dentures or have missing teeth, the problem compounds. Nuts that aren't chewed into tiny pieces can slip into the airway or lodge in the esophagus. Even a minor aspiration, a tiny fragment entering the windpipe, can trigger coughing fits, airway irritation, or aspiration pneumonia, a serious infection that can be fatal in seniors with weaker lungs or chronic conditions like COPD. But choking isn't the only risk. Poorly chewed nuts also create blockages further down in the digestive tract. Gastroenterologists often see bezoars or food boluses made from poorly chewed almonds, peanuts, or cashews that get stuck in the esophagus or intestines, especially in patients with strictures, diverticulosis, or reduced gut motility. For a 30-year-old, the body may push through, but for someone over 60, that can mean hours of severe chest pain, vomiting, or even an emergency endoscopy. Add to that the issue of portion size. Many seniors treat nuts as an unlimited snack because they're healthy, but grabbing 2 or 3 handfuls and swallowing quickly floods the system with fat and fiber, which can slow digestion dramatically. The result is bloating, stomach cramps, or constipation, especially in people who don't drink enough water. And here's another overlooked danger: eating nuts while distracted. Seniors often snack on nuts while watching TV, talking on the phone, or even lying in bed. Reclined positions reduce the safety margin for swallowing, and divided attention increases the chance of a missed swallow. A handful of cashews on the couch can become an ambulance call within minutes. There are also subtle medication interactions to consider. If you take drugs that dry the mouth, antihistamines, blood pressure pills, antidepressants, chewing and swallowing dry foods like nuts becomes even more difficult. Some Parkinson's or stroke patients may have mild dysphagia, trouble swallowing, that makes nuts an unsafe snack altogether unless they're ground, soaked, or blended. It's not the nuts themselves that are dangerous. It's the way they're eaten. The good news is that simple adjustments can dramatically lower the risk while preserving the benefits. Better tip: always eat nuts seated upright, with a glass of water nearby. Take smaller portions, just 1 ounce at a time, and chew slowly until the pieces are paste-like before swallowing. If you have dental issues, choose softer nuts like walnuts or pecans, or soak almonds in water overnight to soften them. Nut butters are an excellent alternative, but buy the plain kind with no added sugar or hydrogenated oils. Avoid eating nuts while lying down or distracted. Make it a mindful snack, not a background activity. If you take medications that dry the mouth, sip water before and during nut consumption. And if you've ever had swallowing issues or reflux, ask your doctor if whole nuts are safe for you, or if ground and blended forms would be safer. By making nuts easier to chew, swallow, and digest, you keep their heart-boosting benefits without exposing yourself to one of the most overlooked dangers for seniors over 60. Mistake number 4. Ignoring hidden allergies or sensitivities to nuts, assuming that I've eaten them all my life, so I must be safe. This is one of the most deceptive mistakes seniors make because nut allergies can appear later in life, even if you've enjoyed peanuts or almonds for decades without issue. Research published in the Annals of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology shows that about 10% of food allergies are first diagnosed after the age of 60. Why does this happen? Aging alters the immune system, a process called immunosenescence, which makes it less predictable. Instead of calmly tolerating foods you've eaten for years, your immune system can suddenly misidentify nut proteins as threats. That's why seniors sometimes experience unexpected itching in the mouth, sudden hives, facial swelling, or a scratchy throat after snacking on nuts. Even more concerning is anaphylaxis, a severe allergic reaction that can cause airway swelling, low blood pressure, dizziness, and collapse. It doesn't matter if it's your favorite peanut mix or grandma's pecan pie, one bite can turn into a medical emergency. But allergies aren't the only issue. Many seniors confuse intolerance with allergy. Nut intolerances can trigger bloating, stomach pain, diarrhea, or reflux. For someone with diverticulosis or irritable bowel, those undigested fragments can inflame the gut lining, worsen cramping, or lead to painful flare-ups. Then there's cross-contamination. Nuts are often processed in facilities that also handle soy, wheat, or dairy, which can cause reactions in people with multiple sensitivities. Seniors with celiac disease, lactose intolerance, or soy sensitivity may blame their stomach upset on something else, never realizing the bag of mixed nuts is laced with traces of other allergens. Medication use further complicates the picture. Seniors on beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, or certain blood pressure meds may experience more severe allergic responses because those drugs blunt the body's normal ability to counteract allergic reactions. And seniors on blood thinners like warfarin or aspirin may confuse allergic swelling or bleeding gums from nut reactions with medication side effects, delaying proper treatment. The bottom line is this: just because nuts are natural and nutritious doesn't mean your body won't change how it reacts to them as you age. Ignoring the early signs, the itchy lips, the sudden cough after peanuts, the unexplained hives, is the mistake that allows a manageable sensitivity to become a life-threatening crisis. Better tip: pay attention to new or unusual symptoms after eating nuts, even if you've eaten them safely for decades. Keep a food diary and note any patterns of itching, rashes, swelling, or digestive upset. If you suspect a reaction, don't dismiss it. See an allergist for testing. Seniors with known allergies should always keep an epinephrine auto-injector, like an EpiPen, nearby and wear a medical ID bracelet. If you're unsure, start by eating nuts at home in small amounts, rather than at restaurants or social events, where medical help is less accessible. And consider trying nut butters or finely ground nuts, which can sometimes be easier to tolerate in mild intolerances. By staying alert to your body's signals and seeking medical confirmation, you ensure nuts remain a safe ally for heart and brain health instead of becoming an unexpected and dangerous enemy. Mistake number 3: eating rancid or improperly stored nuts, dismissing the warning signs and thinking they're just a little stale. Nuts are rich in unsaturated fats that normally protect the heart and brain, but these same fats are highly unstable. When exposed to air, light, or warm temperatures, they oxidize and break down into peroxides and aldehydes, compounds that not only strip away benefits, but actively harm cells, inflame arteries, and increase oxidative stress throughout the body. For seniors, who already face higher risks of cardiovascular disease and cognitive decline, this invisible damage adds up quickly. The tricky part is that rancidity isn't always obvious. Fresh nuts taste slightly sweet, earthy, and creamy. Rancid nuts often taste bitter, metallic, or like paint, but many older adults, especially those with dulled taste and smell, may not recognize the change. Instead, they keep snacking on what has quietly become a source of toxins. It doesn't stop at oxidation. Improper storage, especially for peanuts and pistachios, allows mold to grow. Some molds produce aflatoxins, among the most dangerous natural carcinogens known. Aflatoxins accumulate in the liver, raising the risk of liver cancer and compounding damage in anyone already dealing with fatty liver disease, hepatitis, or long-term medication use. Studies in food chemistry and toxicology journals show that chronic, low-level exposure to rancid or moldy nuts contributes to inflammation and raises long-term cancer risk. The mistake seniors make is treating nuts like dry, indestructible snacks. In reality, they are delicate, high-fat foods that spoil quickly once the package is opened, especially roasted or chopped nuts with more surface area exposed. Add in the habit of buying bulk bags for savings, leaving them in a warm pantry for months, and it's a recipe for hidden harm. Better tip: store nuts in airtight, opaque containers in the fridge or freezer to slow oxidation, and never keep them near the stove or on a sunny counter. Once opened, finish room temperature nuts within 4 weeks, refrigerated nuts within 6 months, and frozen nuts within a year. Always do the sniff and taste test. If you catch even the faintest whiff of paint, cardboard, or bitter oil, throw them out immediately. It's not worth the gamble. Buy smaller bags if you live alone, and consider vacuum sealing to extend freshness. Treat nuts with the same care you'd give to fish or olive oil, and they'll protect your heart and brain instead of slowly poisoning them. Mistake number 2: eating nuts at the wrong time of day or in the wrong combinations, assuming it doesn't matter when I snack on them. For seniors, timing and pairing can mean the difference between steady energy and painful reflux, between balanced blood sugar and a dangerous spike. Nuts are calorie-dense and rich in fat and fiber, which slows digestion. That's usually a benefit. It keeps you full and stabilizes glucose. But when eaten right before bedtime, those same properties can backfire. Seniors are more prone to gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, slowed gastric emptying, and nighttime indigestion. A heavy handful of almonds or cashews at 10 p.m. may sit in the stomach for hours, leading to heartburn, coughing fits, and poor sleep. Over time, repeated nocturnal reflux increases the risk of esophageal damage. Another overlooked danger is pairing nuts with sugar-heavy foods, chocolate-coated almonds, trail mixes with dried fruit, or nuts alongside cookies. The fat in nuts slows the absorption of glucose, which seems helpful, but in reality, it prolongs elevated blood sugar. For seniors managing pre-diabetes or diabetes, this combination results in higher post-meal glucose for longer periods, worsening insulin resistance. Similarly, combining salted nuts with alcohol, a common evening habit, adds to dehydration, raises blood pressure, and stresses the liver. Morning mistakes happen too. Many seniors sprinkle nuts on sugary cereals or pastries, thinking it balances the meal. But the mix of refined carbs and fat overwhelms metabolism, spiking triglycerides and fueling belly fat. Then there's medication timing. Seniors on thyroid meds, bisphosphonates for osteoporosis, or certain antibiotics are often told to take them on an empty stomach. Eating nuts too close to medication can impair absorption because of the fiber, fat, and minerals they contain. The assumption that nuts are always safe no matter when ignores these realities. The result is disrupted sleep, worsened blood sugar control, and medications that don't work as intended. Better tip: for the best benefits, eat nuts earlier in the day, as part of breakfast with plain yogurt or oats, or as a mid-morning or afternoon snack. Avoid heavy nut snacks within 2-3 hours of bedtime to reduce reflux risk. If you enjoy dried fruit with nuts, keep portions small and pair with protein, like Greek yogurt, to blunt sugar spikes. Always drink water with nuts to support digestion and prevent dehydration from added salt, and separate nut consumption from sensitive medications by at least 2 to 4 hours, unless your doctor directs otherwise. By timing nuts wisely and pairing them thoughtfully, seniors can maximize their heart and brain benefits without paying the price in sleep, blood sugar, or medication effectiveness. Mistake number 1, believing that all nuts are safe in unlimited amounts, ignoring both portion control and the very real risk of life-threatening consequences. This is the single most dangerous mistake seniors make because it combines every other risk into one. Choking, digestive blockages, hidden allergies, excess sodium or sugar, rancidity, and disrupted medications, all magnified by sheer quantity. Nuts are calorie bombs. 1 ounce, a small handful, is about 160–200 calories. Yet many seniors eat double or triple that in one sitting, thinking it's healthy fat. Over time, that excess adds up. Studies from the National Institutes of Health show that overeating nuts can lead to weight gain, rising triglycerides, and worsening insulin resistance, especially in older adults who are less active. Obesity then drives up blood pressure, joint pain, and sleep apnea, creating a vicious cycle. But portion isn't just about weight. A large load of nuts eaten quickly can overwhelm the digestive system. Seniors with slower motility or conditions like diverticulosis can end up with painful impactions, constipation, or even hospital-level blockages. On the other end, overeating nuts can cause explosive diarrhea and dehydration, dangerous for older bodies that are less resilient to fluid loss. Then there's the choking factor. A fistful of dry nuts crammed in the mouth is a perfect recipe for aspiration, especially if eaten while talking or reclining. Allergic or intolerant seniors who overindulge can push themselves into severe reactions that 1 or 2 nuts might not trigger. And perhaps the deadliest oversight, medications. Seniors taking blood thinners or cholesterol-lowering drugs may unknowingly interact with certain nuts. For example, walnuts can amplify warfarin's effects, raising bleeding risk. Cashews and almonds, high in magnesium, can interfere with some antibiotics if eaten in excess near pill time. When seniors ignore limits and treat nuts like free food, they create a hidden minefield that can explode at any moment. Better tip: respect nuts as concentrated nutrition, not an unlimited snack. The safe, beneficial serving for most seniors is 1 ounce per day, about a small handful or 28–30 grams. Pre-portion them into small containers or bags to prevent overeating. Never eat nuts straight from a large jar or family-size bag. Combine them with fruit, yogurt, or vegetables instead of eating them alone. It slows intake and balances nutrition. Avoid munching distractedly while watching TV. Sit upright, chew thoroughly, and drink water with them. And if you take critical medications, review nut intake with your doctor or pharmacist to avoid hidden interactions. By respecting the power of nuts and setting boundaries, seniors can enjoy all the heart, brain, and longevity benefits without stumbling into the very mistakes that turn these superfoods into silent killers. So there you have it. 6 nut mistakes that seem small, but for seniors over 60, can quietly destroy health, disrupt medications, and in some cases, even turn fatal. From the hidden dangers of flavored and oversalted nuts, to the choking risks of rushing, to late-onset allergies, rancidity, poor timing, and unlimited portions, each mistake chips away at the very benefits nuts are meant to give. The truth is, nuts are among the best foods you can eat for your heart and brain, but only if you respect them. Handled properly, they can lower cholesterol, protect memory, and add years of energy and independence. Handled carelessly, they can take those years away. That's why awareness matters. Every small choice, how you store nuts, when you eat them, how much you grab from the bag, has a ripple effect on your health after 60. The difference between healing and harm is rarely dramatic. It's found in the quiet, daily habits most people overlook. So ask yourself, are you eating nuts in a way that builds your future or in a way that steals it? Share your story in the comments. What nut mistakes have you made, and how did you change your habits? And if this opened your eyes, Make sure to subscribe for more senior health tips that could save your life. Because sometimes, the smallest changes make the biggest difference.